Hi, this is Jim Ave, and I'm going to go over our signature assignment for Atr 700A, Evidence-Based Practice in Athletic Training 1. I have on the screen the assignment directions from the syllabus. I'm just going to hit the highlights of this. Basically, through our course, during our time together, we're going to be doing a lot of rough drafts for this particular assignment. It's a pretty involved assignment. You may have actually done something like this in your professional program. What I would suggest with this assignment is, one, do this with another athletic training student in the class. There's a lot of work in this assignment, so I would suggest that you partner up with somebody that you can work with, and you both do the same amount of work. So we have a forum where you will pick your partner. You both will post your topic in the forum. Tell me who you are working with with this assignment. If you really don't want to work with somebody else, that's okay too, but just realize this is a very involved assignment. I would also recommend that if you've done this in your undergraduate program, your professional program, do not do the same topic. Try something new, something that's clinically relevant to you at this point in your career, because it would be more beneficial. I do want you to pick a topic that is relevant to you right now in your athletic training clinical setting. Okay, so I'm gonna start going over the directions here. Just gonna hit the highlights again. You're gonna write a clinical question. We're gonna do that this week, actually in week 1. That's specific to your clinical practice. Topics must be approved by me. That's why I have the form, so I can approve your topic, and then I'll approve your clinical question and your clinical scenario. You'll see that throughout the class, you'll continually turn in your clinical question and clinical scenario, just as a reminder what your question is, and helps remind me what your clinical question is. You're only going to use a minimum of 3 and a maximum of 5 recent peer-reviewed original research journal articles about your topic. Okay, minimum of 3, no more than 5. That's the limitation. And these articles have to be published within the last 5 years, so they have to be very current, and it has to be relevant to your clinical question, and we'll get into that, I think, in week 2. And then based on your articles and the stuff that we're going to be doing throughout our class, you're going to write a clinical appraised topic, or a CAT, using a template. I based this template on the Journal of Sport Rehabilitation and American Academy of Orthotics and Prosthetics and other resources. So I've provided a template. Really, in the various learning assignments, you will follow a template, and then you're going to, by the end of the class, you're going to put everything together in the final template. I have provided you a completed CAT assignment. Now, one of the things is for your assignment, you cannot use the topic that is been used in the completed paper that I've provided you, the example paper. That topic is off the table, so to say, but there's so many topics out there, so I'm not going to go over every little detail here in the syllabus, because we're going to go through all these things in our class. I believe in week 1, you're going to write your clinical scenario, and you're going to write your clinical question. I provide you information how to do some of these things. The clinical scenario is pretty straightforward. You're going to make up a description of the patient based on which you're going to base your clinical question. Or there's 2 different ways you can do it. Do it that way. Again, don't use real names, but base it on a real scenario that's going on. or has been going on in your clinical setting or with your partner. That kind of sets the stage for your clinical question. The other option is a description of the current literature in the field with references. Most students will typically do option A, which is a description of the patient. Give enough detail that somebody who does not know what's going on can understand the clinical scenario. Now, I would recommend that you go to the JSR web and more of the JSR website. I believe I put that link inside our class just to look at some of the different clinical scenarios. I'm one of those people that I like examples and use the examples the way they write, the style they write, what kind of details they're providing for various things, and also use the example paper I provided you. So this week you're going to do clinical scenario and clinical question. You'll turn that in. I'll read it, give you feedback, and probably by Tuesday of week 2, and then we'll go on to the next step of these. So we're going to be doing all these steps as rough drafts. You'll do a very long table here. So the summary of best evidence table is going to be pretty involved. So there are 2 different types of tables. There are, and it depends on the type of research methods are used in the study. So for non-systematic reviews, meta-analysis, or literature review articles, you're going to follow these areas. But if your article is a systematic review, a meta-analysis, or a literature review, will have these areas in that table. Okay. Again, we're going to be going through this in rough drafts, so I'm not going to spend too much time. Then, towards week 7, you're going to actually turn in a rough draft. That's what I have right here. Rough draft. It's only 5 points. You're going to put everything together through all your various learning activities. I'll give you feedback and turn it back into you. So the goal is for you to learn the material, do well on it, for me to give you constant feedback. So everybody in this class should have a great grade on this assignment if you follow my directions. When you're given feedback, you make the changes that I suggest or recommend. So that's the goal. So you do the rough draft and turn in your final paper, and then every student in the class will do some kind of presentation of the CAT. Now each student's going to do that. You can do it as a team if you happen to live close to one another and you want to do this as a team. I think that would actually be better. You can use, I think, in Google, I'm not sure, it's in Google Docs. I'm not sure if it's Google Presentations or right term they use, or you can use a program like I'm using right here, which is called Screencast-O-Matic, to record your screen, and then you guys can develop your presentation on Google presentation. I can't remember the name of it. Just blanking my mind right now. But you can use Google Docs, PowerPoint. If you're using Mac and you use the Macintosh's version of PowerPoint, which is called Keynote, you have to export that to a QuickTime video. You're just going to provide the highlights of your presentation. It's going to be 5 to 15 minutes long. You're going to attach the presentation in the discussion board, or you're going to link it in the discussion board. You'll provide 2 to 4 open-ended questions that you'll have other students answer in the discussion board, and then you're going to read other students' responses and keep that thread going. And then each student will read 2 other students, or listen to, I should say, 2 other students' CAT presentations and answer the questions that have been posted. Minimum post is 1 page or 3 fully developed paragraphs in length. that is all in week 8 for the CAT assignments. I think it's important for us to share our information with our fellow athletic training students, because most of the CAT questions or clinical questions are going to be relevant to what you are doing in your clinic. So for you to get additional information to help you clinically in your profession. So that's one of the reasons why I have students share their CAT presentations. The standard that I have, and I'll probably remind you of this, is with the CAT presentations, you are presenting to your peers. We can pretend that we are at a NATA district or state or national conference, and you're presenting at those conferences to your peers. As always, if you have questions about any of the assignments, the learning activities, anything, please ask. I'm here to help. This is a lot of work. It is some stuff that maybe you've done before in your professional program, but hopefully the second time around it's making some more sense. My goal is for you to understand how to do this analysis, so it actually have a positive effect on your clinical practice, because we should be using the best evidence for our patients. And how do we know what the best evidence is unless we evaluate that evidence critically? So that's the goal here, is for this material to give you a model of how to do this on a regular basis. On a regular basis, you may not have to write up the report like you're doing for an academic program like this, but still, in the end, you have to make that clinical decision on, well, should I really do that particular rehab, or should I do that particular treatment for my patient?